I just got a haircut, but unless you completely shave it all off, there's really no cure for toque head. And I got it this morning. That's really distracting. Better? Sort of? Okay. Alright, it's been a while since I made just an individual video talking to you. And, you know, the Canadian World Junior team was named last night. And I was playing shinny this morning with my friends for like 2 hours. I was in the hockey talk mood and wanted to make a video. But then something happened. That something, I'm sure I don't need to tell you, is what happened in Connecticut. And obviously a lot of people, regardless of the field they're in, were commenting on it, but, you know, there were some hockey reporters that were assigned to, you know, do whatever, and they were doing their job. They're just reporting, and they got some heat for that. So I asked on Twitter, I said, well, I still want to make a video. Should I do it? And like 95% of you said yes, and some of you said maybe mention it somehow. So here's my brief input. One thing I saw a lot of people talking about was, I am gonna go home and you should all go home and hug your family as tight as you can and say you love them. And to the people saying that, I 190,000% agree with you. But I would say this, not just today, every day. Every single time I leave my house, unless there's no one home, because that would be strange, but every single time I leave my house, if my family's home, before I leave, I say I love you, because I do. Even when I'm as mad or as fed up as I can possibly be. Because you never know if you'll ever get the chance to say it again. That's just how I feel. So if it's cool with you, I hope it is. I want to talk a bit about the Canadian World Juniors. If you're not interested, you're not in the mood, you don't think you can handle it right now, that's cool. Turn it off, pause, watch it later, don't watch it at all. It's fine. So, Team Canada. We have one, finally. 36 players, 37 if you count the injured Colton Sissons, who could not play, were invited to Team Canada's selection camp, and they now have a 23-man roster. And I tweeted this when the selection camp roster was named. 37 players, that's a lot of players. Only 6 of them were under 5 feet tall, and none of them were shorter than 5'10". Hi Steve, it's you in the future. I think what you meant to say was under 6 feet tall. Go on. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, there's Canada going with their big brutes again who are just going to get dumb penalties, and what chance does the little guy have, and all that rhetoric. Well, 5 of those 6 guys under 6 feet tall made the final 23-man roster. The only one that didn't was Hunter Shinkaruk of the Medicine Hat Tigers, and I highly doubt it was because of his size. He's draft eligible this year, and it's rare for a 17-year-old draft eligible player to make Team Canada in any year. During the 04-05 lockout, it's amazing that I can talk about multiple lockouts now, but during the 04-05 lockout for the 2005 Dream Team, there was only one undrafted player, that was Danny Syvret, and one player who couldn't be drafted yet because he was too young, and that was Sidney Crosby, who you may have heard is pretty good. 3 made it this time around. What? One of them, sorry if I screw up his name, is J.C. Lapon of the Kamloops Blazers, and then the other 2 are the Halifax Mooseheads duo of Nathan MacKinnon, potential first overall pick, and Jonathan Drouin, another potential first overall pick if you ask some people. They're too young to be drafted, but they made the team. And in a year that features so many players on Team Canada that a lot of people thought would be in the NHL, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for sure, Mark Scheifele, Ryan Strome, Dougie Hamilton. That's pretty impressive. They got to put on the coveted Team Canada jacket, which reminds me, you like? This is the official Team Canada jacket that was given to all the players who made the team. Do a little spin. This is why I'm not a model. You know that jacket you see them wear in all those cool pictures with like the patches and stuff? Yeah, this is the one. I have to give a huge shout out to Nike Canada for the incredibly crazy hookup. I did not expect to get this. So I definitely got to thank Unbelievable1 on Twitter. Can you spell that? Of course you can. So I put the link right here and in the underbar. You can follow them. And for Torontonians or Torontonian-ishers, they have some available at the Nike store in Toronto. I'll put the Twitter address for that down below. Very limited qualities. Quantities. I can speak. That's one of those video edits where I'm like, I'm not going to fix that. Anyway, the team. Canada has 6 returning members from last year's team. We got Dougie Hamilton, Scott Harrington, Jonathan Huberdeau, Mark Scheifele, Boone Jenner, and Ryan Strome. All those guys are first-round picks except for Jenner and Harrington, who are second, still pretty good. And I know Ryan Strome lights up the OHL. I know Dougie Hamilton does the same. He had a strong tournament last year. But I'm really excited to see the return of Boone Jenner and Jonathan Huberdeau, specifically because of the elimination game last year against Russia, in which, penalty-wise, they made some pretty poor decisions. But they're good players. And the hope is, with them being a year older, is that they're a year stronger, faster, better, and smarter. And let's call a spade a spade. Last year, Russia got the better of Canada big time. Canada almost came back in the third, and it was really exciting and awesome. But if Vin Diesel from the Fast and the Furious taught me anything, it's that you can't almost win. Except his voice is like,
yeah, something like that. Whatever happened to that guy?
And I'm predicting it could come down to Canada-Russia again, which is why I want to emphasize something I've said in the past. Canada plays to win gold. Russia plays to beat Canada. And that sounds like messed up logic, and it sounds like it doesn't make sense, and it sounds like Canada should beat them every time. Not the case. Because Canada plays with a desire to win, and that's great, but what do you got to do to win? Beat you. And that's Russia's mission, is to beat you more than win. Does that make sense? Last but not least, some controversial cuts. A lot of people were surprised to see Matthew Dumba cut, first round pick. A lot of people were surprised to see Tom Wilson cut, first round pick. And Frankie Corrado, Vancouver Canucks prospect. Now, I've seen Corrado play live a few times, not very many times, but I liked what I saw, so I was like, huh, bit surprising. And then I saw everyone's reaction on Twitter. Oh my god, I can't believe he was cut. And I was like, oh, a little more surprising, okay. Then Bob McKenzie tweets, wow, I'm shocked he was cut. Panic button. Bob McKenzie said, what? Like most hockey fans, I don't like when Bob McKenzie's surprised because that means he didn't know something and he knows everything. What happened? And maybe even more controversial than Corrado, Laurent Brossoit, goaltender, cut. And some people saying it's really unfair that he was cut. Look at his camp, look at his numbers from this season and last playoffs, and you know what? Hey, looking at all that, yeah, it does seem a bit unfair. But what I will say is kind of some of the things people are saying about that is unfair to the other three guys that made it. Malcolm Subban is the big name of that bunch, you know, younger brother of PK Subban, one of them anyway, first round pick of the Boston Bruins. But then you get Jake Patterson and Jordan Binnington. Patterson, a third round pick of Detroit, and Binnington, a third round pick of the Blues. I can't speak to Patterson, I haven't seen him play, but I watched Binnington kill it for the Owen Sound attack in the 2011 OHL Finals, and then go to the Memorial Cup. He was pretty darn good. And the fact of the matter might be, Canada's got some pretty darn good goalies. And Russia's got some good ones too. Vasilevsky, Makarov, Sweden's got some guys, the USA has some guys. This could be a pretty good tournament. And you're probably sick of me saying it from all the KHL highlights, but that bigger ice, it's a tweaker. It just changes things a little bit. So I'll ask you the question. You can answer it in the comment box. What do you think about Team Canada so far? What are you happy about, disappointed about, what were you surprised about, what are your predictions for the tournament, how's Canada going to do, who's going to be their big names, who might disappoint, and that goes for teams too. Let me know. So to folks on the eastern side of North America, I very much look forward to waking up at 4:30 in the morning with all of you to watch these games, and to everyone, thanks for watching. Go Canada! Don't look at my butt.